Let us start the recording. So what is TBSkyen? That's my Let's Play channel. That's where I play video games occasionally. Been playing Silksong over there recently. If you want to watch me do that, let's murder some drones. Let's murder some drones. Let's do that. The drones have gone unmurdered for too long. They've had it too good. They've had it too good for too long. It is time once again to inflict some horrifying violence on cute cartoon robots with edgy humor and stuff. And word on the street, what people have told me is that episode 4 is like, that's when Murder Drones kind of takes off. That's when it sort of really finds its stride. Or that's, some people say, oh, that's the best episode or the good episode or whatever. So I'm curious about that. I'm curious what it is that is in this episode, because like I've said before, like Murder Drones, to me, having watched 3 episodes, I still don't have a great sense of what the show is really trying to do, right? Beyond, like, what we talked about, like, here's a bunch of gags, here's a bunch of aesthetic fixations, let's throw them all at the wall and just make something that's like rule of cool, surface level, just really fun with some character dynamics in it, which is perfectly fine. It's sort of the webcomic approach to storytelling, which I'm fine with. The question I have is, like, how much of it really adds up to when you get into it. But I guess we can find out together. Also, very nice not to have to do the 3-2-1 thing like I do with Has Been Hotel. Camp 98.7. Okay, so if last episode was a Carrie riff, I guess now we're doing, like, Jason Voorhees.
Oh, easy. Good. Do you ever wonder why?
Okay, so school trip.
No kidding.
School trip because why?
After the core collapse, I didn't notice the collars. Only your mom be the catch. She was always all, build doors against the coming sky demons. The singularity awakens. Look at this cool S I can draw.
Zobel, look at this cool bee I drew. So, okay, I guess we know where Uzi got it from. How I wish I had sensory receptors so I could feel the firm embrace of doors. There's something wrong with that man. Once again, like, whatever illustrator was working on these background illustrations, like, they fucking know their stuff, man.
She was always all,
Yeah, it's like a very nice use of, like, a charcoal brush. Like, it's digital art, assuredly. It's very good use of like charcoal brushes and things to, like, lots of good texture work happening. Like with the whirlpool thing, that, like, the big consuming maws.
build doors against the coming sky demons.
Nice use of erasers as well. Like a good way, if you want to draw a face, like, with teeth like that, it much better than trying to draw the outline of the tooth and things like that. Just draw a big fat black background and then use an eraser to carve out, like, the white space that you want. You get a much better effect that way. So someone will have looked at these equations and figured out what they are, right? Like, presumably it's just, like, basic fucking math functions and geometry and shit, but like, who knows? They might have hidden something silly. Interesting that it's the singularity again. So in robotics and like sort of future studies and sci-fi, the singularity is the perfect union of flesh and machine, right? Like the moment when human consciousness and machine consciousness become indistinguishable and become one. It's very much a sci-fi concept. It's the sort of thing that the like tech freaks who think they can upload their brains to a computer and live forever believe in.
Singularity awakens. Look at this cool S I can draw.
And I do like it again. It's jokey, right? Like we're repeating a joke over and over and over and over again, which is, oh, Nori's weird, cursed, insane stuff, right? It's the joke that we've done with the dad already multiple times, that the dad is insensitive and does not take the mental states of the people around him seriously at all. Oh, she's just kooky and insane. The woman I love. Oh, my child? My child who I'm supposed to care about? Yeah, she's just kooky and insane, and she has dumb ideas in her head. Wow, what's her problem?
Doors against the coming sky demons. The singularity awakens. Look at this cool S I can draw. Turns out, I'm not who either of you needed.
But I guess we can self-reflect about it.
Just be safe, okay?
Still doesn't explain why you brought all the classmates. Like, historically, their main role in the narrative has been to get murdered in horrifying ways.
Teacher, what is this field trip?
Yeah, Uzi's idea. Ask her.
Why did you listen to her? Like, you have a whole society predicated on stay the fuck underground and never go outside. How did she make you agree to this?
Who?
I've sat next to you for years. Bite me. I asked to go alone. He's mad at your test scores.
No year-end bonus, no learning.
So we're just unsupervised? Welcome, campers. Let's sound off. 1, 2. That.
Yeah, murder's fun. Oh, man. It is that thing we talked, like, it is that peril of when you want to both be dark horror and you want to be funny. It's that thing of, like, when you treat death so casually, when you want death to actually hit emotionally, it becomes hard to convince the audience to care. I will say, the gag is well-timed.
That's everyone. -1. We've got so many distracting activities planned, so no sneaking off to investigate stuff. To the bunks!
Really? Okay, yes. I have missed the lampshades. I have missed the lampshades. It has been Hotel. Too much subtlety in that show. It is an effective use of cinematography, though. Like, this is a thing I feel like I can feel that slowly leveling up with the course of the show is just the use of camera work. I'm still not a fan of the constant handheld camera. I do wish that sometimes they would just let the camera be static, let it sit still. But I do like the framing of Uzi here, right? Like the way we have like N and forget the name of the other one, N and the other one, and like the classmate there, like isolating Uzi in the frame. V. Isolating Uzi in the frame and making her small, right? Like they sort of like literally visually singling her out so that we know that it's who we're talking about with like simple Kuleshov effect. It's effective. I will also say in terms of character design, I do like the, like, like we talked about, it's Sonic the Hedgehog-ass character design in the show, right? Like, in the sense that everyone has sort of a very similar base body that they're building on, which, again, justified in universe because they're all mass-produced robots. Everyone has, like, the same base body that we're building on, so the only way to really differentiate people is give them color schemes, give them costumes. And this is, like, reasonably effective in terms of, like, making a crowd of identifiable characters. Presumably most of their role, like, their role is going to be they're all going to get murdered horribly, which is very funny. But in terms of, like, making them distinguishable from one another, it's, like, nice bit of color coordination there. Like nice bit of basic background character design to sort of set them apart.
Sounds good, Ed.
Anything for my bestie.
Huh. Interesting aliasing artifacts on the hair there.
Yeah, they're like my friends too, so it's cool. You can be our friend, little guy.
Poor thing's defective.
Nah, just full of love. This one's a pilot.
Oh, wow, a pilot.
It's a pilot.
Oh, wow, a pilot.
I like that. That's a pretty good, like, little... That's a good one. Look at that. The way, like, they lead with the head, and the neck is like, again, this is the advantage of that robot anatomy, is you can kind of fuck around with it. So, like, the head leads, the neck follows, the body sort of slips into place. Right, and you get this gesturing that's driven by the handwork. So, like, hands up under the chin, it's like, oh, wow. And then that leads into, like, extremely overwrought giggle, and then play with the hair. Like, very, very good, like, that's good acting use. Like, it's very arch, it's very overstated, that's obviously the point. But it's effective. And I gotta say, like, the hands do look fun to animate on these things because of the way that they're put together with the ball joints and the flexibility on them. Because, like, you're stuck between the thing of, like, you can't really flex the palm very much, like, which, like, in fairness, neither can real actual hands, but it's sort of, I do like the interplay between rigidity and flexibility, the way that they animate the robot parts of the characters.
Wow, a pilot.
It's funny how you're genre savvy on one hand, like you're hanging lampshades on the tropes, and yet you're like, yeah, let me just walk alone into the dark woods near the camp. And that's fine. Don't worry about that. That's not dangerous. Wait, what the hell? Is that Saturn? Number one, why is it so big in the sky? Number two, why is it glowing? Saturn is not supposed to be glowing. I know they're not on Earth, but... Okay, let's see. Aww. It's puppies and cats. Don't seem to be any Easter eggs in the backdrop there. Ah, we're playing with the new powers, are we? And I guess those things are just kind of endemic. Yeah. Oh. Evacuate all dogs just in case something bad happens. I don't know. Also, all dogs are immortal now, thanks science. We did that. That's canon. Right, so cursed doll, then. So not so much Jason Voorhees as Resident Evil 7-ish?
So, my friend wants to know if you killed her family and are single.
Make way for the canoe train!
Sabotage, minions! Plan X! I can't swim! Oh, thank you.
Close one.
Oh dear. Again, there's that... And I don't think I'll ever stop having this complaint, and it's a personal complaint, right? It's about what do you enjoy out of media, and for me, it is always that thing of like, wait, hang on, are we supposed to take these other kids seriously as like these are people who are present in Uzi's life and whose like companionship and community she cares about, or are these disposable nobody dipshits who don't matter? Right, who are just like archetypes and like, yeah, we can murder kill like 40 of them at the prom, who cares? There is always that tone problem for me. That's sort of like, so we have this scene, right? Like, which is very effectively sort of isolating Uzi from the kids, right? Like isolating her from normal experiences. Uzi, on the one hand, has this desperate need to be exceptional that sort of drives her character, right? Like she doesn't want to be conformist, she doesn't want to be like everyone else. But then on the other hand, there's also like that very, like, which is a believable, realistic thing, this teenage need for being a part of a group and like feeling like you're in a community and feeling loved, and like this perhaps like incipient jealousy about the ways that N and V seem to pretty effortlessly be able to make friends with these kids, despite, you know, again, murdering their families. So like it's effective in terms of the storytelling. You get that that's what the story is saying, right? That Uzi has this profound feeling of loneliness, and this emotional volatility seems to activate her powers like unbidden, which again, it's a classic thing of that thing of the thing that makes you different, makes you feel like a monster, right? Like her powers make her exceptional and special, but they also isolate her and make her afraid to relate to, like, it's a classic sort of story arc for like teenage superheroes use it all the time. It's the whole Spider-Man thing, right? But it is that thing of like, it's not, for me, it's not given an opportunity to really land, because I struggle to believe that Uzi would give a shit about any of these people, because the show doesn't, right? The show doesn't care about any of these children, any of these other teenagers. They are fodder for jokes. They are fodder for, like, V can shoot one of them through the head, and it's a gag. No one cares that she just murdered one of their friends. So why does Uzi care about them when they don't even care about each other, right? It's that, So it's that thing of like, what does the show actually want to do? Where it started out in that place of, well, the show wants to be a shitpost, right? Like it wants to do a bunch of rapid fire jokes and gags and a bunch of ultra cool anime violence, and then it's like, that's it. So it started off on a foot where it's like, we don't really want to engage very deeply emotionally with these characters. And then clearly over the course of like 3 episodes and now into the 4th one, it's having second thoughts and going, fuck, we actually want to engage emotionally with these characters, but now it's struggling against the tone that it itself has established, right?
Hey, stupid idiot. Weren't you just— You said this camp would help us catch that red-eyed doll freak. How about more explory, less watch from window creepy?
Working on it. Just so glad you guys fit right in. Super cool.
Better to stay distant, though. Don't you think? Since I'll have to kill you next. Anne's made friends with rocks, by the way. He'll move on just fine.
Okay, that started some shipping, didn't it? That must have started some shipping. There's no way that didn't start some shipping in the community. It's like lesbians and blades, right? Like it's a little bit like showing a ball to a dog, right? Like you know what they're gonna do.
Better to stay distant, though. Don't you think? Since I'll have to kill you next. Anne's made friends with rocks, by the way.
Which, again, there's that thematic thing, right? That the sense I have of V is that very much, at least in part, like, it's that thing of monsterhood, right? Like, a feeling like you are internally, in some unfixable way, monstrous, right? Like, you are in some unfixable way apart from, alienated from other people around you. And that's where, like, my assumption with V is that she... Like, that's the thing with the chain, right? Like, pretending she's chained up because that gives her an excuse to act like someone whose primary response to everything isn't violence. And that gives her access for a moment to, like, a sense of companionship and friendship that she otherwise can't allow herself. Like, if Uzi's feeling isolated from the others, like, that's a theme the show could work on. This thing about, like, the things that isolate us from each other, especially internalized fears and worries about monsterhood, or like I am only good for delivering violence in service of, like, that kind of thing. And I'd be curious to see, I would like that to be the thing that sort of becomes the theme that the show is working with. But again, it's that thing of like, are they gonna actually commit to that, really? Or is it gonna be funny jokey jokes the whole time and Yuri bait?
He'll move on just fine.
Do love the animation work with the tail, though. Right, as she's disappearing up out the ceiling. Just letting the tail catch that little spiral up to accentuate the motion. I think that's very effective.
Sorry, buddy. Got you good.
Oh, hey! A dead body! And more of those symbols. And that looks like a character. Huh. Oh, hey, it's green now.
elevator. Where's that? What are you?
Wear his hat, what argue? Very good.
Sorry. Did I cheat?
Murder. Is that the same guy getting murdered again? That would be genuinely very funny. Hang on, I need to see. Because if it's a fucking Kenny, that would be genuinely quite funny. No, that one has a yellow helmet. Okay, that would have been a funny gag if it's the same guy over and over again. But I guess they're just working their way through until we get to Final Girl, which is going to be her because she's the final girl. That's an extremely powerful bow, by the way. Like, that's astonishing. That's an astonishingly powerful draw if it can drive like a wooden arrow through a metal head like that. Wow. Damn, those bows are like firearms. Jesus. Also, blam. Yeah, I shoot my bow and it goes blam! Bang, bang, bang! Ba-bang, bang, bang! Kapow!
We didn't even kill everyone here. Check this out.
Uzi, get on out here! This troop's a team!
Oh, and can't read.
Wait, no! Inclusive reflexes!
Hey, everyone.
Ooh, well, that's not right. Okay.
Ignore all of this.
Wait, what? Hang on! Hang on! The gag, of course, is that, like, everyone treats Uzi like she's the horror monster. And she's the one who appears out of the woods as a creepy beast. But she doesn't actually want to hurt anyone, whereas the actual horror monsters that have been killing everyone are being treated as troop leaders. Which, okay, fair enough.
Hey.
Yeah, never point a loaded gun downrange. Like, the trigger discipline, my guy. Since that is a gun that goes blam. And again, that, like, you weren't even drawing that thing. That thing, like, do you know how much you have to draw a bow in order to get an arrow to actually... What's the fucking draw weight of those bows? 4,000 pounds? Like, it's like barely like, pling, and it just goes, zish. Absolute headshot at 900 yards. What the fuck is up with those bows? How strong are these robots? What the fuck are those bows made out of? It does demonstrate, by the way, like, part of the reason why this show, like, one of the things about this show is that it uses light for everything, right? We talked about this, that so much of the show is based on, its aesthetic is so much based on constant light glow, right? Everything has light glow, everything bleeds light into its environment. Like, there's no source of light in the show anywhere that doesn't bleed light, like, that doesn't have a glow halo around it, right? And it kind of needs to be, because the whole show is based on this, like, very, very dark general aesthetic where everything's sort of lighting up in the middle of it, which is, like, that's very effective in some instances for building, like, a scene that feels like it has depth, that feels like it has, like it's sort of the opposite of the washed out Marvel movie aesthetic, right? Like the aesthetic that comes from everything being shot on green screen and nothing being properly color graded because everything needs to be fixed in post. And by the overworked VFX teams. This is a little bit on the opposite side of that, where everything is very saturated, everything is very bright, like this huge, like, sort of contrast depth in the frame. One of the weaknesses is you have to compensate for the darkness sometimes. Like, for example, here, when the bow goes off and there's a muzzle flash, basically, because they run this glow down the arrows every time they go off. And it's basically a muzzle flash to sort of indicate, oh, the bow has been fired. And then here, in order to track the arrow, in order for the arrow to sort of show up, we have to do this big fucking anime glow on an arrow, which is not actually shiny at all. Where's that light coming from? Well, it's to help with tracking, right? Same thing here, when we do these very nice looking, I will say, flash frames, as the arrow doesn't quite strike, and Uzi has basically a beam struggle with it. Right, like we get this as it impacts her barrier, and she's like holding it back with 2 fingers, and it's this struggle against this unmovable forward-moving force that just wants to like pierce and destroy. And it's very funny that she has a beam struggle with a tiny, like, you could have just given them guns, man. Like, it could have just been a gun range. I'm sorry, it's like, I've done archery, I know how strong a bow that looks like that is, and it just isn't, they just can't do that. This is very unrealistic. I expect better realism from murder drones. I do not expect realism from murder drones. Very nice flash frames, though. Like, very nice, like, really leaning into the anime shockwave effects. And, like, doing it very effectively, too, I think. And then we overload, and now it gets a little bit Gaslight District all of a sudden. Well, maybe a little bit more The Thing. Oh, shit, fuck. The implication being here that Uzi has the power to create life from inanimate objects? Which, like, that, okay, that's interesting. That's concerning. And again, I wonder what the purpose of that power is on a thematic level. So, like, superpowers at their best have a tendency to be an expression of the character in some way, shape, or form, right? And not necessarily in complicated ways, like One Piece. Luffy is a rubber man. He's a silly little cartoon rubber guy, because that expresses something about, like, the whole arc of, like, what he represents thematically in the story, which is joy and liberation and all that. Like, that sort of thing, right? In the same way that, like, Spider-Man, he has all, like, he has these silly animal-themed powers, right? Like the web swinging and the clinging to walls and all of that. But part of it is also, Spider-Man is strong, but he's never strong enough, right? Spider-Man is powerful, but he's not Superman, right? So it's like, there's this interplay between the Spider-Man powers making him very strong and capable of many things, great power, great responsibility, but also not strong enough to handle balancing his real life with his superhero life, not quite strong enough to be able to take on all the threats of the world at the same time. Like, which is why, like, Spider-Man comics, there's always in Spider-Man, there's always going to be a moment where he has to lift a weight that's bigger than what he can actually take, right? There's always going to be a moment where he has to somehow find the strength to lift something that's impossible to lift because he's strong, but he's not strong enough. And nonetheless, even though he isn't quite strong enough, he has to persist, right? Like, that's part of the power set of Spider-Man. Superpowers at their best exist and are assigned to a character because they express something about who they are, right? And because Murder Drones seems to mostly run on rule of cool, so far, I've not really been able to parse out exactly what I'm supposed to connect Uzi's powers to, right? Because she gained, initially the powers seem to be, okay, she can, like, I had the idea, okay, it's kind of like seeing through the Matrix, right? So, okay, she's genre savvy, she knows the trope, she's lampshading them. She kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit by playing to the... So I guess when she has these powers where she could, like, manipulate stuff, it's like Neo manipulating the code in the Matrix. Like, oh, okay, that... I sort of comprehend that, but then why does the Russian doll have those powers also? How does that relate to who she is in terms of, like, does she see through the veil of reality or whatever? But now it's like, oh, okay, she can accidentally create horrible mutant life from inanimate objects when... I guess we'll have to see some more of, like, her exploration of what these powers are and what they do in order to figure out what the fuck that's supposed to mean in terms of relating to her character arc, but...
Ignore all of this. I was just going. Yeah, I live in the woods now.
Who was that?
There's a corpse on the ground behind you guys. Man. Again, it's that thing of, like, it's hard to take the horror of what Uzi just did quite that seriously when it's like... You just murdered a guy casually and you weren't bothered by it. Why are you bothered by what Uzi just did? Like, what's the threshold for morbidity here? If I could turn back time. Oh, now I get it. Uzi is a tech plague sent by Nurgle to corrupt the creations of the Mechanicus. This is a 40k fanfic. Now I understand.
We can't hurt Uzi!
Do our jobs, and that thing leaves us alone.
Don't know what you're talking about because you won't tell me! What are you so afraid of?
Not afraid.
I am! Uzi is! She's a kid, like us, V! What is wrong with you? Look after the cameras.
Hot? Not hot? You're too good for him.
Do whatever you want.
Are they just gonna Lord of the Flies immediately?
We need to sneak this far just to make out?
It's about mood, Darren.
Horror tropes.
Nice.
Get it now.
Like, it's the horror thing, right? Where, oh, a teenager being promiscuous. Okay, that means they are marked for death, right? Because, yeah, we want to exploit, like, leery sensuality on screen at the same time as we want to, like, oh, no, we're not condoning it. They all get horribly murdered for it. Like, it's that old horror trope, right? Okay, then I guess Uzi had... That's where she got the wings! Okay, I saw that in that teaser for the music video. That's where she got the wings. It's... vampire stuff. So she's turning into like a biological murder drone, essentially. Which means maybe the murder drones were based on... well, like tech replicas of... whatever happens when regular robots get the weird reality manipulation powers. They get that, and then the murder drones were created specifically to counter the tech plague nonsense, like whatever tech weird. Is that what we're doing here? Is it we're doing a thing of like, oh, you thought that N and V were the murder drones, but it turns out you were the drone that murders all along. Which, again, we talked about, like, this thing of, like, Uzi feels alienated, she feels monstrous relative to her regular classmates, she feels like an outsider. I guess that would be a way to externalize that. Not 100% sure what that goes along with being capable of creating biological matter out of nothing, but I guess we'll find out. Zombie drones. Do not play for robots, they will not like it. Ah, man, I hate it when Sonic the Hedgehog shows up as a shadow form in my nightmares. So, murder drones, zombie drones, but the murder drones are also kind of like vampire drones. I mean, Uzi, you brought the snack. You should have just eaten the hand. Now like you got way too snackish, and now you're binging. It's like you're not you when you're hungry, honestly, girl. Should have just eaten the hand, like got the snack urges down, and then you'd be able to stick around until you could get home.
But her warranty wasn't expired. It never existed. It's scary because it's like...
Okay, fair enough. Pretty good gag that they're fucking roasting Duracell batteries as marshmallows.
Aren't you guys worried about Darren and Rebecca?
We're hanging a lampshade on it. We're hanging a lampshade on it. Even funnier when they do a thing of like, oh, she wasn't the final girl after... I don't know.
Shouldn't they be back from their immoral make?
Prepare to be pretty and oh so white. I'm in a nerdy, non-threatening to men way. I mean, yeah, no, that's a correct critique of the final girl trope, is that the final girl does have a tendency to be that.
Out session by
Rebecca!
Who did this to you? Don't remember name. Super unpopular.
Descriptive clues, man!
Purple eyes. Hot topic.
I feel like I'd remember someone like that.
Ah, fuck, there goes the bonfire. Now they can't respawn.
Oh, you?
Split up! I think I read that's good.
Okay, alright, I get it. I get it now. The most important thing, notes Scholar Grizzled McGoldman, is avoiding splitting up your group, as this will pad out the runtime and allow the screenwriter to include more dumb set piece of each character death that ultimately puts the production through hell. I get it. I get it. I understood the joke the first time. You only had to show me the cover. Oh, man. It is a thing of, like, you can definitely get away with doing the joke too much, right? Doing the joke too much is often an effective way to, like, you take the joke from, oh, it was kind of funny the first time, it stopped being funny real quick, but then when you keep hammering on it for long enough, it becomes absurd, and then it kind of gets funny again. I don't know that they're really managing that. And again, it's pitched for an audience that's not me, right? Like, I know the final girl trope. I know all these tropes. I spot them the instant they even show up on, oh, it's a horror, like, there's a bunch of campers going to a scary camp in the woods and they're all going to get picked off one by, okay, cool, I get it. I understand the reference. But if you're 14 and this is like your first sort of edgy cartoon show, whatever you're watching, again, it has a different valence. It's different because it's teaching, right? Like, it, to a certain extent, I think this is also teaching the audience, like, hey, tropes, like, pay attention to tropes, here's how we're using them. It's basic, but it's basic in the way that, like, it kind of has to be for an audience that's not familiar. If you're over familiar, which I am, internet poisoned since the day I was born, basically, then it just becomes kind of like, yes, I get it, let's move on. But okay, fair enough. It's not pitched at me. Oh, I like that framing. That's pretty good. I do like that. That's very cool, like cutting to the POV shot. And then, like, using the upside down. And again, the fact that she's, like, breaking a tree by landing on it, it implies something about the power that she's moving with, the power that's, like, present in her. That's a good way to make her scarier, right? Like, that's effective use of horror imagery and, like, the upside down perspective and things. That's effective. I like that.
Does it at least have pictures?
It doesn't. I checked. Oh, thank Robo God, final girl.
Because she's not the final girl. I get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Flashing?
Yeah, she's a named character, so she can't die.
Killing her, not saving you.
Okay, Mom. Please.
New body, same horrors. Huh, Sin?
Huh?
No, who that is. Can I talk to him?
I'll make sure you can't.
Yeah! Okay, so we're dealing with possession, vampire, zombie, cannibal. Ah.
Whoops. Easy there, buddy. Ha, ow. Up we go. What did I say about antagonizing her?
Ugh, you always take her side.
Very cute. Ooh, nice. I like that arc. Yeah, like we're doing a bit of Coyote time, right? Like she's not affected by gravity for a bit, and we're sort of justifying that with the wings, and then... Whee! I like that. Cool smoke rendering as well, like for the clouds. Not realistic in any way, shape, or form, but it works. Seriously, why is that ringed planet glowing so much? That's weird.
Uzi, you want to tell me what's the matter?
No, don't look. I'm gross and eating people and stuff.
Yeah, we'll figure that part out. But you know that's not what I mean.
Are you, like, gonna leave me?
Uzi,
Never mind, stupid.
It's cute. That's a cute framing of having the tender conversation while the characters are falling, because it gives you the opportunity to break it up with a comedy beat where they like land and crash into stuff if you want.
That scary stuff was actually pretty scary. And tonight too, because you weren't with me to make it fun somehow. I kind of forgot what that was like.
Same.
Then we'll stick together.
Don't fucking touch it. Plus, my voice is more like...
Called it.
Accent was a bad idea anyway. And I'm sorry.
Not like you killed anyone.
Yeah. I am imposing a lampshade budget on this show. You only get so many per episode. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no, I definitely...
Kidding! Just avoid another whole spire. Baby steps. Together?
Ew. Don't patronize me.
What? I think it's gross all by myself. God, you're a diva lately.
How is that school bus still They killed so many people!
So, missing some campers here.
Yo, I get hungry, idiot.
No name calling, just a question.
And she burns in the sun because vampire stuff. Okay. And yeah, zombies don't burn in the sun, so okay. Again, we're doing mystery box, right? It's that mystery box thing where we like provide a mystery with like, oh, what does this imply? What does this mean? And then we don't answer any of it because that's the hook for the next episode, which again is like fair enough. It's the kind of thing like I completely understand how this community got a whole bunch of theorizers and people making theories. About the show, because what it is very effective at doing is setting up a little bit more of like what the fuck's going on here, right? What the fuck's going on? Like what the fuck's happening here? It creates that intrigue, that mystery. again, for me, what it's lacking is that tonal consistency that informs the emotional arc of what it's saying. Again, it's that thing of like, is murder horrifying or is murder funny? I guess it's both, except completely dependent on whatever the scene requires, right? If the scene needs murder to be scary, oh, murder is scary now. If the scene needs murder to be funny, it's a fucking arrow through the head, he died. Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Doesn't matter. They're not real people, and their deaths are not consequential to anything. But that then creates the problem, like when Uzi's like, oh god, I'm eating people. What's happening to me? I'm becoming a monster. It's like, but you don't care about these people. No one cares about these people. The show doesn't care about these people. So how am I supposed to understand this is consequential to your character when you haven't demonstrated that you give a shit, like that the show it's that tonal problem, right? Where you sort of, it's that thing of, you sort of have to take it on faith, right? In any given scene, you just sort of have to raise your suspension of disbelief to the point of like, okay, I understand what they want me to feel, even if the actual cinematic storytelling of what's happening is not successfully making me feel that. I'm just sort of going along with it because it's cool, right? Rule of cool storytelling. Which is fine. It's fair. And it is that thing of like it wants to play in the horror genre, but horror ultimately, like horror comedy is maybe a slightly different business, but horror does rely on a level of sincerity, right? Horror does rely on a level of like genuinely believing that death, violence, pain, transgression has consequence, right? Like that there's a consequence to it, and that consequence is something that materially changes reality for the people who experience it. And that's the thing where the show's constant sort of vacillation between this is horrifying and this is funny keeps kind of losing me. It's hard for me to turn off my brain and just enjoy it. For what it is, I will say. Although I really do think the cinematography is getting better and better. And so is the animation, by the way. Like, there aren't really super standout moments of like, holy shit, like that was a really cool move or something really interesting that they did. But everything that's happening is effective. Right? All the character animation is well rendered and very characterful. Like, there are good performances being given. And like I've said before, like, they're getting better and better at managing the Sonic the Hedgehog mouths, that they look, again, I don't think they ever really look good. It feels like, I want to pick up the graphic novel when it comes out. I'm not going to kickstart it, because, you know, but, like, once there's a digital copy available, I want to download it and take a look, because I feel very strongly that a lot of the design style in Murder Drones is much better suited for 2D. Is much better suited because you can stylize in 2D with a flat... Well, or rather, like, this is an odd thing to say, but I feel like Murder Drones would have been quite amazing if it had had a visual style more in line with what they did with Gaslight District, right? Obviously, not something that was within Glitch Studios' production capabilities at the time. They kind of had to do Murder Drones first before they could build up to being able to produce Gaslight District. But that hyper-stylized, like, really, really very 2D inspired, but also, like, using a lot of the working elements of 2D animation and, like, stop-motion animation, rather than this very, 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 very smooth 3D animation style.
It's like...
Aren't you guys worried about Darren and Rebecca?
Right, like, I feel a more lo-fi stylized animation style probably would have made this pop a lot more, especially with the aesthetic that Murder Drones wants, right? Murder Drones wants this chiaroscuro. It wants this very, like, heavy, deep shadows, high contrast, lots of highlights. And again, when you're rendering that in 3D software like this, it does have a little bit of that look of the Unreal Engine 5 like tech demo, right? Like the Nintendo Hire This Man tech demo where like all of the visual effects are sort of turned up to 11. Again, something that I feel like the show is slowly getting much better at handling, where the show looks less like a bunch of like default assets that are sort of thrown together in a default Unreal 5 scene, and it's building up more of like a visual identity that sort of works for it, where it's managing the contrast between like the cartoon smooth characters, right? Like all of the characters and their clothes and the way they're rendered, it's all very plastic, right? Like it's all metallic, it's all very plastic in the way that it's put together, and that then is contrasted against these extremely highly textured, high fidelity environments. I think the show is getting better at managing the interplay of those things, like in these shots with Uzi, for example, right? Where she still has that hyper smooth, very plastic aesthetic, but it's not clashing with the environments as much as it used to, I feel. Same here. Like, we have this half-eaten robot, and like they're managing the rigid plasticness of that. Like, it feels integrated, it feels well composited with the environment that it's in, and that is a clear improvement, guys. Like, that's something I commented on back with episode 1 when they were still doing motion capture for a lot of it, right? Where the motion capture struggled a lot in many situations to feel coherent with the environment that the characters were in, because that's always the problem. Motion capture is incredibly fucking difficult to composite into a scene. That's a huge challenge of motion capture. Like, you can produce a lot of high quality animation very quickly, but it's the trouble is when you want to composite that animation, there's so much calculation that has to go on in terms of like how you position, how you use, how you place these realistic human motions of human actors trying to move in a way that works with whatever the character design they're working with. Sonic the Hedgehog itself had that problem. That's Sonic Adventure 1, I think, where they did like the very motion captured cutscenes where all the characters move like people in mascot costumes, because that's basically what they were in the mocap. It's like I'm enjoying the improvement from episode to episode. Like, this shot is very, very good. I really like this shot as a composition, right? It's very effective, like, with the bright light, with the chains hanging down, like, the shadow of Uzi, and, like, the single light on her face, like, really lighting her up. If only the camera would stand still, right? Like, if only the camera would stop fucking Michael baying all over the place and stand still and let that image breathe, right? Like, that's another thing about like the camera work, which again, I've talked about this with Digital Circus, and certainly it was true of Gaslight District, is something they are very good at, is like being intentional with what the camera is doing at any given time, where still, like, while Murderdrones' cinematography and composition in a lot of their images has gotten way better over time, that default to handheld shaky cam, it annoys me because it keeps robbing the images of stillness, which is very important. That's one way, by the way, if one way that you can tell an experienced animator from an inexperienced one, pay attention to how often they allow an image or a character to be still, right? Not necessarily motionless, but just still. And one of the ways you can often tell an inexperienced animator or a young animator is they are afraid, in the same way that young content creators, like doing video essays and doing content online, they are often afraid of dead air. They are afraid to take a pause. They are afraid to be quiet. Because the moment that they're not saying something, providing something, putting something out there to capture the audience's attention, they feel like, oh, fuck, I've lost them. They'll go away. They're bored. They're not here anymore, right? And one of the ways you can tell a more experienced video essayist, especially, is that an experienced video essayist will take time, include pauses in what they're saying, allow the audience to come along, and manipulate their anticipation, right? Like that, I'm doing it very cartoony here, right? But that's part of my scripting process when I write video essays, is I include these, okay, here's where I'm gonna take a beat, here's where I'm gonna do a pause, here's where I'm And for me, the constant camera shake, right? Like that constant wiggling all the time. For me, that feels very much like that. It feels very much like even here when we're zooming in, like we're supposed to do a slow zoom into the page, and then we're allowing the joke to land. Even here, they shake, camera shake, and like fucking brrr, like visual effects, all this activity, all this razzle dazzle. That it feels, it can often feel like a lack of confidence, right? Again, it's only episode 4, but it can feel like a lack of confidence. It can feel, certainly to me as a fairly experienced sort of animation viewer, that can feel to me like the show being like, oh shit, we're afraid if we're not putting Subway Surfers and Minecraft videos next to everything we're showing at all times, the audience is going to scroll away, right? Like, it feels a little bit like that impulse. It feels overstimulating, in other words, where...
Thank Robo God, Final Girl!
Where, again, the creepiness of a shot like this, I feel, would have landed better. Without that dramatic dolly zoom camera push in and the shake, right? And like, because again, this right here, this is a really well composed frame. I really like this frame. I like in terms of scripting the action of it looks like her and then rips the head apart and she rises essentially out of the corpse as she like tears apart this girl, and then we get this shot. That's, as a sequence, that's very appealing. Like that's a good horror sequence. And I feel like with a little bit more stillness and intentionality, that could really have landed, and we could have gotten to that frame and kind of gone, oh shit, that's impactful. But you know, I don't want to just complain about this. Like, I am trying to be complimentary about the things that are improving. Staging is improving. I quite liked this way of doing the action shot. Right? Like, we do the classic, like, cutting on a flash frame. I do kind of wish their fight had been a little longer. Like, I feel like it had the juice to, like, you could spend a little bit more time demonstrating how scary her powers are. It was a little bit of a curb stomp very, very quickly. Also, I've seen the name Sin around, so I know that that's a character in the show, because, you know, it just... What exactly she is, and it's a thing of, like, is this like an alternate personality kind of situation? Is Sin literally the... Like, the powers come from Sin, who is, like, the name for the AI program that infects the robots and takes them over, and so Russian Doll also has that inside of her at some point? I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? Again, we're mystery boxing, right? Like, we're setting up, oh, fuck, who the fuck is Sin? Well, we're not going to get any answers this episode. Tune in next time on Dragon Ball Z, right? I like this animation as well. The crawling. I thought was quite effective. Again, like, if we're trying to show that Uzi is vacillating between two different mind states, then having, like, when she goes feral, when she goes like bat mode or whatever, having that express itself by her, like, having a completely different style of movement is very effective. I don't know that it was 100% consistent with her. That her movement is consistently more animalistic when she's in Murderbot mode, I guess. But it's a good idea, and I like the way that it's occasionally executed. Because, I will say, certainly Possessed Uzi here, or Freak Uzi, or whatever's going on, definitely has a different movement aesthetic than regular Uzi does a lot of the time, right? Regular Uzi, we can kind of go back and look at this, actually. her physical affect is generally more closed, right? She generally tends to, like, close herself off more, be stiffer in the way that she behaves, and the freak version of her, like the possessed freak-out version of her, is, like, very deliberately more jittery. So, like, there's definitely some work going on there trying to differentiate the two personalities. Although, again, I feel like we didn't really get to spend enough time with possessed Uzi to really get a sense of it just yet. So I guess that'll have to wait for next episode. And I will say, for all that I'm sort of calling out, oh, we're mystery boxing, we're setting up a mystery and we're not explaining it, I am curious. I am intrigued. Like, I do want to fucking know. Oh, is he permanently dead? Okay, cool. No more head on fire guy, I guess. It's not because the actual voice actor died for real, right? Okay, no. Good. Because then I feel a little bit bad about making fun of it. I am curious. And, like, the relationship with Uzi and N, like, when it actually gets to... Like, when the show gets towards sincerity, right? When it actually pushes past the dramatic, like, the constant ironic distance, and it allows for, like, an emotional vulnerability in the characters, where actions have consequences that they kind of have to deal with emotionally, it does get quite cute. Like, this is a very cute scene between the two of them, right? Like, the literal thing of N trying to get Uzi to open up to him. Like, very literal visual metaphor, but an effective one. And, like, Uzi using the wings, essentially, as a little safety blanket to hide herself, I think is also very good use of... There are 6 fingers on those. Do bats have 6 fingers on their hands as well? I don't know. It's just 6 fingers. I immediately thought, oh, Elden Ring. Because I am brain poisoned by many things. I do like her using the wings as a little safety blanket for herself. Like, I think that's a very creative use of the character design, right? Like, of integrating this new part of how her body is put together into the way that she physically acts. I do enjoy that. I think that's very effective acting choices made by the animators. And this little bit...
Then we'll stick together.
Don't fucking touch it! Plus, my voice is more like...
Right, like that they play together, right? Like, we resolve the scene by having them be playful with one another. I think that's very effective character interaction. Right? That's a very effective way to show affection and to show comfort and intimacy between them. Again, for me, the scene doesn't emotionally land because the emotional stakes of what's happening, I don't feel have been properly set up or communicated, so I don't have an emotional investment in their relationship in the way that I would need to in order for, like, a vulnerable therapy scene like this to sort of really hit. But the execution of it, like the actual technical execution of the scene in and of itself, is very effective. Like, it's good animation also. I also like V as, like, just an annoyed little sister, essentially. It's very cute. Like, there's a cute sort of big sister, little brother, big brother, little sister, like, flipping alternately between the two roles, between the two of them, where it's very clear that V kind of wants to protect N and be a big sister to him, but she also isn't really in a position to be able to be that, and it frustrates her. I like that. That's very cute. Behave yourselves in chat, by the way. It feels like you guys are arguing over something. Again, effective cinematography, right? Like, they have rediscovered, like, friendship for each other. V has some difficulty dealing with that emotionally. She feels very small next to their, like, kindled friendship. And violence doesn't work as a response, right?
Oh.
So here comes popular girl, I have not bothered to remember her name, articulating V's interior thoughts, and that's part of their relationship with one another, right? Lizzie.
Don't patronize me.
What? I think it's gross all by myself. God, you're a diva lately.
And again, if there were better emotional stakes to the rest of it, that would be a very effective friendship building scene between the two of those characters. Still, I am curious. Like, I do want to see whether the show can pay off the mystery box, right? Like, it's doing all this mystery box stuff. Can it make it land with something interesting? I do want to know. So I guess I'll keep watching later. But right now, I'm ending the video, so like, subscribe, blah, 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 YouTube, etc. Become member of the channel, early access. If you wanna. You don't have to. It's fine if you don't. It is genuinely incredibly fine if you don't. It's okay. Please don't worry about it. I have a merchandise store. You can visit it if you want to. Goodbye.